it so everybody else is going to ask. It will be recorded, sent to everybody. And let's get started. I'm going to start with the welcome note to everybody. Good afternoon. And thank you for this opportunity that Khwarizmi International College has given us to make this wonderful, hopefully, presentation to its students, faculties, and guests who have chosen to take time off of their valuable schedule to spend it and listen to us today. And I would like to heart thankfulness to Dr. Asim for his continued support that has been provided for a number of activities that we pursued earlier. I'd like to also thank Dr. Nabil Al-Qadi, not only as a friend, but also as a passionate educator, that he really looks to expand the horizons and knowledge of students everywhere around the world. And I have seen that and I felt it, but I also want to thank my colleague, Mr. Gautam Sen Gupta, for his continuing pursuit of to enrich students and youth knowledge and basically whatever that is going to carry their career over to the highest levels that they can go beyond that. Without any further delay, most of you guys knows who we are. I don't want to spend time introducing Identity Branding Forum, Talent 17 Minutes activities. Everything is on our website at www.identitybrandingforum.net, and we'll share it here on the group. But I will hand over the mic to Dr. Nabil Al-Qadi, our distinguished moderator for this afternoon, to take control of this session. Dr. Nabil, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abed. Good afternoon, colleagues. Allow me, first of all, to once again welcome you all among us. And I will briefly introduce our panel members today, starting with Dr. Asim Al-Hajj, our CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Al-Khwarizmi Holding Company, including KIC, Khwarizmi International College, and KTS, Khwarizmi Training Solution. Dr. Asim has an extensive experience in higher education worldwide and a lot of publications and achievements. And I would like to really thank Dr. Asim for his continuing support. Welcome, Dr. Asim, and thank you for dedicating time to this webinar. With us also today, Dr. Baidas, who introduced this initiative this afternoon. Dr. Baidas is the founder and principal founder of Identity Branding Forum. He's a veteran international consultant and an expert authority speaker on branding, social and economic matters. Thank you very much, Dr. Baidas, and welcome. And last and not least, Mr. Gautam Sen Gupta. He's member of business consultant focusing on the Middle East and India territories. He has extensive experience in hotelry, senior marketing professional with a focus in tourism sector and fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK. So this is a brief introduction of our panel. And to kick off the discussion, let me start by asking Dr. Asim, as a CEO of an academic group, including both higher education and a training and certification institution, can you elaborate on the gaps in the higher education system today and what area of competences graduates might need to acquire differently? Dr. Asim, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
You're giving access.
Yeah. Right. Oh, hang on. I have to put my camera on, sorry. Right. Hello, everyone. First of all, allow me to thank Dr. Baidas, Dr. Abed for actually passionately pushing for this webinar and for wanting to organize something special for KIC students. Thank you very much, Dr. Baidas, and of course, thank you very much for Dr. Nabil and the other participants. It's a pleasure actually to be part of this webinar and to be able to talk to our students and the colleagues and other people as well. Now, to answer the question about the gap in the higher education system today, I think to answer the question, we need to ask ourselves whether we are actually how much we are putting in preparing for the future, because one of the gaps could be our ability and readiness to prepare for the future. As you know, do we have, as institutions, do we have the agility in our systems to accept, to respond to changes, to accept changes? Do we have really a proper understanding of what the future is going to bring to us? We all know that in the future there will be, and if not now, this is the near future, not the distant future. What's going to happen in the future? We know that there will be a lot of jobs, current jobs will disappear, and a lot of new jobs will appear. So this is where lots of the gaps will be present. Now, another thing is, and as everybody thinks, a lot of people do actually think this way, and they think that, and of course they look at higher education as a way to opening doors of opportunities. We look at we go to universities, we go to colleges, we do higher education because we believe that higher education institutions will open doors for us. And when it opens doors for us, in other words, that is, we are looking for better job prospects to start a career or to build a career. Now, some people now they're starting to question this this situation and say, well, that's not necessarily the case, and that because in universities now, to sometimes we can see that it's impacting on the career of a person in a different way, and hence we have now more and more we're talking more about the personalizing career for individuals. Now, let's ask the question: who influences our decision on what we do in what to study in the university? We've been in this industry for so many years, and over the years, I've come across many examples, many situations where the student wants to do what the parents want, not what he or she wants to do. The parents are engineers. They want their child to become an engineer. The parents are lawyers. They want their child to become a lawyer. So we are influenced by friends, by family, by teachers, by the system, by many things, by the economy, right? But how many of us actually are influenced by our own passion, by what we like, what we want to be? And it's a question actually maybe our students can answer that. I certainly, when I was a child, my father, every time he see me moving something, say, "Oh my God, you're going to be an engineer. You're going to be an engineer," and I became an engineer. I don't know. Maybe I could have done something else. So it's actually I think this is one of the main gaps in higher education, and to some extent this is reflected in retention. It's reflected in having people in the right places where really the choice of students. When I was in Bahrain, one of students in my class, he was there, he's sitting there, he sat, in classes on time, finishes on time, do all the tests. He will sit for an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, doing a test. He will not write a single word on the paper, but he will be there, he's very nice, and will submit the paper and say what's happening. Eventually, I sat with him and he said, I don't want to do engineering. I want to be, I want to do art. But my parents want me to do engineering. And I think this is a gap. This is a starting point for us we need to realize, we need to understand, not only us, but also families, students. We need to provide them with an opportunity to fulfill their dreams, to do what they want to do. And that, I believe that is a big opening to personalize careers and to benefit more from the life, the university life. I think this is some of the gaps. One of the other things that I see it as a gap, I see a real gap here, and I talk both in university life and higher education and training, and that is there's lack of proper entrepreneurship skills built into people in the university. Yes, there are what they call there are some something has been actually done in that direction, and I agree. It's good to introduce it. We have entrepreneurship as a compulsory subject now. It's taken by all students, but I think that is not enough. We need an environment. We need to build that environment. We need to not only get the students to be part of it, but also the students, the faculty, the staff, everybody. It's a whole environment that takes put the student in a very productive and in a way that makes them creative and are ready to initiate ideas and dream and really work towards that dream. And I believe also we need to make more contact between our students and the employers. It's very important we have contacts. We at Khawarizmi, we do have actually those bridges, but we need more of those bridges. We need more communication and connection with the industry and also with the futuristic industry. Some industries sometimes they fail to read the future, which is problematic. We need to connect more with industries who read the future better. I think these are some of the important gaps that we need to look at in the coming years in order to prepare, in order to provide our students with more benefit on what they have chosen to do in the university, and also towards making it more fulfilling. It becomes an achievement that's more fulfilling for them, something they can build their own career on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asim, for this a clear analysis on the need and the gaps. And I would like to focus on three major elements. You spoke about giving the possibility to the youth of a customized path and giving them the possibility, to do what they are passionate of. And you put a question mark on, is the higher education really the path for the future? And is it agile enough to be able to read the future and prepare the youth to it? So with this, Dr. Abed, considering these analyses and those major gaps identified by Dr. Asim, CEO of KHC, Where did you place talent of endearment program, and to what extent you believe TE program may help and may contribute to reduce maybe the identified gap or even to answer to some of them? Dr. Baidas, please.
Thank you, Dr. Asim. Thank you, Dr. Nabil. And to begin with, Donald Trump lost the elections. And so that's a good news about the future, to put it in perspective. Now, most of us, basically, too many people are thinking of security instead of opportunity. Like Dr. Asim mentioned earlier, basically in terms of what the parents want. Years ago, back in the 60s, people were saying the future is in civil engineering. In the 70s, having a master's degree. In the 80s, having a PhD degree. Today, none of them is employable. So, and now we're talking about the digital era is the future. AI is the future. And we keep missing the mark. What you are able to create your livelihood out of is one package of its own that could become obsolete later. What defines the future is when you start thinking, what is it that I can do today that cannot be replaced tomorrow? That is definitely there to stay, and nobody could actually beat me to it. Today, we are not competing against each other. Today, we are competing against machines. This is a sad story. But when we talk about career, I look at, when you start thinking, what's the story? I need to start with the story behind Talents of Endearment, TE. Because we need to create rationale out of a chaos that exists out there in the minds of the students, in the minds of parents, in the minds of employers, of workplaces today. Now, people are more focused in what is going to secure me a job tomorrow. Okay, and they keep thinking, now they are more concerned, they're more afraid of life than death. This is how I compare it. Because they are afraid to try anything that is new to become successful. But this is not the way you become successful. This is not the way you would secure your future. The question is how to build a career and put it on a fast track. We have 5 elements that are connected together that makes you relevant today and tomorrow. Think of your passion. Now, when you think of your passion, you becoming an engineer is not a passion. That's a job. That's a skill. Passion, when you start focusing on what makes people interested in you, then that will actually get you to the next stage to develop your own purpose. People love to build to secure better educations for their kids, for example. My purpose in life now is how to help them do that. In branding, we say good brands makes me feel good about you. Great brands makes people feel great about themselves. That becomes your purpose. How to really make people feel great? How do you really make people feel accomplished? Are able to really do things they were not able to do it without you to begin with. That becomes your future. Okay, now your future is driven by your purpose. Start thinking of what could be relevant opportunities and the relevant achievements. So you really need to start thinking in terms of relevancy in everything that you want to do. When you think of passion, you think of your inner drive, the seed that once nurtured becomes everything you are about for the rest of your life. Okay, so what you need to do is your passion to help kids, your passion to help orphans, your passion to help families, older people. But what makes it reality is what makes it happen. That becomes your purpose. So what you really need to start focusing on is how to create a forest for everybody that wants to plant a tree. Okay, now you're not only driven by what you really care for, but you are also creating an environment for everything around you to really care for. For example, if you want to build a forest, who else could contribute to build that forest, benefit out of it, to create a beauty for people, for children, for whoever was that purpose was created purposely for. So what you really need to do is you need to think of the future. You really need to think, how do I change things around? Now, if somebody looks at this slide, says this is a blurry. Couldn't you pick up a different color, different settings? This was actually done for a purpose. Now, the purpose, this was done because future is not clear to most of us. We really don't know what we want to, what our future is going to be like tomorrow. We have no clue what the future of the people around us is going to be like. Future is blurry today. It's a word that we hear about. It's almost forgotten what it is. Well, my future is I want to be an engineer. Well, that is not your future. Your future, what is it? How are you going to become a game changer for humanity to thrive, for your community to grow, for that picture colors to become clear, crisp to everybody, that they can see it. I want to do a little survey, a poll here, and I would like most of you guys to participate in it. Now, this is a survey. How do you see yourself in the future? Rich or poor? Please participate.
Thank you, Dr. Baidis. Are you expecting our attendees in a poll or?
All of it, everybody.
All right. So please, our attendees, if you can send on the chat, you know.
No. They can see the poll.
They can see the poll. Okay, sorry, I was not seeing the poll. Right.
No, refresh your page if you cannot. But they should be able to see the poll.
Yeah, there.
Okay, 96% they see themselves rich, 4% poor. There's another poll that I want to start. How do you feel about the future? Great, good, not so great, not so good, not sure.
Votes.
Okay, we have 40% great, 32% good, 8% not so good, 4% not so great, 4% not so great, and 16% not sure. That's interesting perspective if we start thinking about those outcomes. Now, if anybody has any questions, please place them in the questions tab up, and then when we get the time to answer them gladly, inshallah. Now, when we talk about the future, it has to have value. Remember when I started talking about passion, defines purpose, and purpose has to have a value. Now, when we talk about the purpose, basically we think about in terms of what did happen, what is happening, but what should happen next. That is the future. What you are studying today, what the jobs that you are doing today, the subjects that you're studying today, it is based on everything that did happen or is happening now. What you really need to start thinking now as a game changer is what should happen next in the future that would change your life to the better, instead of not sure about it to become sure about it. Now, the future is based on how you see it through the eyes of people. So that's why your passion has to associate it with people's aspirations. Okay, that's when you need to listen to what people around you cares about, wants, dreams of, to help them how do I make it possible for them. Now, your future is connected with your passion for their aspiration. That's what you become known for. That's what you become about. If I ask the questions today, what are you about? I am sure 99% of us will not be able to answer that question. Except well, all what we are either fuzzy story, fuzzy picture, blurred, but it's not clear how we're going to be seeing it, nor how we're going to be seen about in the future. Now, when we talk about what is opportunity, it is creating a situation basically. That makes things possible for you to happen, makes things possible to change things. I'm going to use an example here of Standard Chartered Bank. Standard Chartered banks in a lot of areas around the world, in villages, they are a bank. What they did is they went in, brought electricity to that village. Now, one person would say, what does that get to do with the bank? Well, it's got to do a lot with the bank. What the bank wanted to do, because businesses in that town or in those villages, they used to close at 5 o'clock when sun starts setting down, getting dark. People goes home. So when they brought electricity in, free of charge as a CSR, it actually helped businesses to stay open until midnight or until the morning, 24 hours a day. What did that help these villages do? Increase their productivities and their bank's deposits. So that was an indirect opportunity that had nothing to do with the bank, but it created an opportunity for the bank to get more money or more deposits into those accounts of those village people. So we have two types of opportunities: direct and indirect. Okay, and deliberately I layered the direct, because now you're saying, well, why it is so confused? Those letter alphabets are not put together properly, because opportunities are not made to be in the rationales of what you studied today, even the direct ones. You really need to start saying, well, how can I really reposition alphabets so I look different? You need to think in terms of how you really need to shuffle things around to make things different to people, to put it in different perspectives, in a different packaging, in a different fashion, in a different approaches that is appealing to people of different ages, different group, different geographies, different sexes all over the world, different religions all over the world, different colors all over the world. You really need to think that. Indirect, just what did Standard Federal do? They created an indirect opportunities that allowed villagers to stay open until midnight or 24 hours a day to impact their direct business, which is banking. You really need to start thinking out of the box, not of what you are doing today or what you are studying for. What you are studying for, remember, you really need to start thinking what could not be replaced tomorrow. If you are building a forest for a group of people in a community, it's hard to replace you, because not too many people are going to be able to build those forests. But also remember that once you build a forest to sell water, if that's what the business you are in, to sell soft drinks, cookies, foods, snacks, now you're creating an opportunities for other businesses to capitalize on what the indirect opportunities that you build. You really need to start thinking how to link them in to what you are doing. That becomes an inspiration to everybody around you. And that's what you really need to care for. Think, here's an opportunity, think a value. Think of what you hate the most today and you would like to change or do something about it. That's create an opportunity. That's something different than what everybody else. But here's another greater opportunity, a multiplier of opportunities. Ask what everybody around you, what they hate the most, that they would like to help your help to do something about it, or to improve it, or to change it. It could be positive or it could be negative. Remember one thing: if you are focusing on doing something good that other people are doing, you are just one person in the crowd and you are replaceable. If you are doing if you are focused on something that is bad today to make it better tomorrow, then that's something only you is doing. What is that? Now, everything materially out there is being replicated or copied. But you need to think in terms of how you are not going to be another copy machine in the world out there. Now, once you have defined your opportunities, I need to be an achiever, an achievement. What kind of an achiever I want to be? What kind of an achievement I'm going to have? Is it if I'm going to be thinking about an achievement for myself to be a millionaire, you're going to be limited to a time or a shelf life. But if you're thinking, if you're going to be, what you are able to achieve to people, what you are able to achieve to 6 years old to 11 years old children, what you are able to achieve for orphans, what you are able to achieve for businesses, what you are able to achieve to decision makers, leaderships, no matter what it is, then you become relevant to the masses around you. You don't want to stop. You need to, as a student in college today, this is your chance right now to start thinking, what am I going to be achiever known for? For what achievement that I need to focus on? That's where you become relevant, focused on everything around you in this beautiful life. That's when people start seeing value of you. Now, opportunities is everywhere. The key is to develop the vision to see it. But if you are limiting that vision to yourself, those opportunities is going to be very limited and narrowed. If you're going to be seeing it in the eyes of everybody out there, just let your phantom grows beyond your imagination to start seeing things that will change your future indefinitely, forever. You will not imagine your potentials is just grows, is unleashed. But how to do all of that? So basically, everything is associated with your attitude. How you is it positive or negative? And that will actually, we're thinking about developing our aptitude, the skills, but that's not what defines you. It's your attitude that actually get you as high as you want to go. Because sometimes with the way we think, we narrow ourselves, we limit ourselves. Let go of that. Let go of that and start focusing in terms of listen to everybody. I don't want to just listen to one thing that I liked. Sometimes the things that you may not like will be the most beneficial to you. We have verses in the Quran that talks about that, but we just read them, we don't pass by. وما تكرهوا شيئا عسى أن يكون خيرا لكم وما تحبوا شيئا وما تكرهوا شيئا عسى أن يكون خيرا لكم وما تحبوا شيئا عسى أن يكون شرا لكم. So basically what you really need to do is open up your mind, your ideas, based on what you are able to get to know people. But to get to know people to start talking to you, they need to feel comfortable about you. Just like Standard Chartered, they brought electricity to that town. What is it that you're going to be doing that is inviting people to you to start opening up to you, to start dealing to you? For example, yes, mensafs, meals, capses, or whatever, invitations, these are heart opening, but it is not always welcoming to what really beats peace. People want somebody that impacts their life, not their pockets to take it out. So basically what you really need to start thinking, basically, what do you want to be? Okay. How many of you has thought of that? What are you passionate about? And remember, how passionate you are, is it to somebody else or you, basically? And these are questions to ask yourselves. If I want to be something, how to do it? What do I have to learn for it? Where do I acquire the knowledge for it? These are the stories behind, basically, that we went at one point of time, we thought college education. Education is great. It actually shows us that, hey, I've got some skills, but it is not enough to actually jumpstart your career. It is not enough to really get you that big leap into the future. Because remember, whatever you are doing in education, other students are doing. What you need to do that other students may not be doing is, how do I become different? How do I personalize that, create a personalized experience that nobody else is able to offer? Not even my closest friends, not even my best classmates. Think different approaches. Through credentials, you can be a nice signals of someone's ability. but they are not an exceptional ability. What you can do different to people, that's an exceptional ability. Exceptional ability is doing something nobody else is doing. Okay, but doing something that is nobody else is doing to change people's life, to change your community, to create an environment where everybody wants to be a part of. Imagine if you are in the middle of an oasis like Dubai. Think of Dubai, for example. In 1985, I came to Dubai for the first time visiting. It was a complete desert. Today, it's an oasis in the middle of a desert. Nobody could have fathomed in 1985 that this desert could become an oasis 20 years later. But it took a vision. Somebody that really wanted to turn this harsh place to a warm, welcoming place for people to come in, enjoy it, and build a future and a career. It wasn't about selling real estate. That became a given. That's a reality. When you build the cities, there's an opportunity for real estate, but this is exactly the same like a forest. So Sheikh Maktoum, Rashid, God bless his soul, and Sheikh Muhammad, they built what basically became the forest for everybody to welcome, for everybody who's welcome to really want to build something in it. And that's why it attracted opportunities, it attracted new talents, it attracted a new generation. So what we really need to do is say, what could be missing out there? What could be, where is the missing link? And that's where we focused in Tenets of Endearment, in creating that missing links, that we looked at everything that I just discussed here, put it all together for people to come up. Now, to start up your company, boost your career, grow and lead, what type of help you think you're gonna need? And that's where we started thinking in terms of endurance, and the help that we just explained the story behind it has been compacted into one story that helps us really to read the passion. This is not gonna play it, but let me share it off of the. And that's exactly what you really need to do. Now is the time that you really need to start thinking about the story of your future that makes people now, not later after you graduate, now excited. They want to follow it up. They want to be a part of it. That's a career changer. That's a game changer Tenets of Endearment is about. And here I stop until later we go into further detail. Thank you, Dr. Nabil.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abed. So being or looking for the future, looking to passion, and looking how you can achieve and, have elements where you are attracting people and where you are impacting on the change. And we heard from the academic side, what are the gaps, and we heard your vision as Talent of Endearment, where you are saying we're gonna bring those people together and we're gonna allow them to unlock additional possibilities and to look to their achievement and to start think to the future from now to be impactful and to be attracting. I'm not sure the market is looking to the same from the same perspective. And in that regard, I would like to hear from Mr. Ghutam, from a market perspective and as a corporate representative with many years of experience in a very dynamic fields, as per you, what are the expectations from the youth graduate outside the core competencies related to their specialization? Does it match this passion and change maker Dr. Abed was explaining, or are the corporate side and the market side having a different perspective or a different view to that? Mr. Ghutam, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nabil. And thank you, Dr. Essam, for this opportunity for us to join with you and speak with your students and faculty. I loved what Dr. Essam opened with, talking about how the needs of the marketplace have changed and wonderment about whether higher education today is serving the purposes that are required to be satisfied for industry to be able to synergize in the manner that it must with higher education. Just to put things in a little bit of perspective, I graduated, I as an individual, I graduated as an engineer in 1977. That sounds like a long time ago, but it's not really. But I remember categorically that when I was graduating in 1977 from an engineering institution in India, hordes of companies were coming to campus to recruit us, small bunch of students being graduated in that year. And they would come in hordes, and we would take a smaller job, a lesser paying job, a higher paying job, an international company job, a local company job. But it was job, 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 job. In 1977, we weren't thinking entrepreneurship at all. That is a huge shift that I see in the higher education ecosphere between when I graduated and now. I then finished a post-graduation with an MBA in 1981, 4 years after my college graduation. But the situation was still the same. Again, a different set of companies came to campus, and it was jobs, jobs, jobs again. And then I worked in industry for 20 years. I worked with a group called the Tatas, which many of you may be familiar with, in India and in Dubai. And I used to go to colleges to recruit, and I used to see a play out as though we were back in 1977 or 1981. And over time, I saw that shift happen. And then in an entrepreneurial capacity, I've still been associated with higher education institutions and seen what goes on, etc. Now, I ask you to imagine a situation where, say, you, one of you, a young lady, is graduating in 2020 as a mechanical engineer, and some of the largest companies in the world have come to campus. The Schlumbergers, the Larsen & Toubros, the Caterpillars, and they're looking to recruit mechanical engineers. So the recruiter asks you a number of questions in the private room that they've given you for your interview. And he finds out that you understand tensile strength, that you understand compressive strength, that you understand materials that go into manufacturing, the different kinds of steels, the alloys, etc. And you think you've done a terrific job, and you probably have. You answered all his technical questions. But then that potential employer is going to sit back and say, this young lady knows all the hard stuff. She knows all the technical questions. She knows the answers to all the technical questions that I can have. But, that only satisfied 20% of my requirements from her in respect of whether I can afford to offer her a job or not. There's another 80%, which was not taught to her in the classroom as such, in the mechanical engineering classroom through the books and Bibles that she studied. And I break them up into 2 or 3 sets for you. He wants to know, are you a leader? Are you a team player? What are the traits that define that? Do you show that you have those traits, those attributes? On another platform, he will ask, I'm recruiting her in Abu Dhabi, but I'm going to give her a job in Kenya. Completely different environment. What is her ability that I can understand today? Her ability to be able to operate in different environments where the language is different, the food is different, the way people speak is different. Will she be able to translate her tremendous abilities as I see them today in Abu Dhabi, in this classroom, in this interview room? But will she be able to translate it to Nairobi, where my factory is and where I want her to make a huge contribution to the company? And on yet another platform, he will say, but she's not just a mechanical engineer. Does she have a bent which is more marketing orientation, a bent which is more sales orientation, a bent which is more possibly even human resources oriented? What is the mix of attributes that defines this young lady, and that I must pull from the 100% that I need in order for me to be able to offer her a job? And the question then becomes, is higher education providing all this in one package, which industry can come and assess of an individual in a half hour or a 1 hour period and go away satisfied that all the requirements that he must see in an individual that he recruits is actually available to him in a package that he needs. Now, a lot of people have been thinking a lot along these lines. It's not just the Schlumberger gentleman who's come to do the interview. Harvard Business School, for example, has identified that in addition to all the hard stuff that they're teaching in their classrooms at Harvard, there are 3 things that they need to put into every individual who graduates as a Harvard graduate. And what are those 3 things? The first of them, they say, is when our students graduate from Harvard, they must have a far greater degree of self-awareness. Who are they? Much like the passions and the purposes that Abid was speaking of a little while ago. They must have a degree of self-awareness which will allow them to stand tall by themselves in the world that they are going out to face. The second thing that Harvard has said that they must inculcate in their student graduates is practical skills. And when I say practical skills, I'm not talking about some highfalutin skills. I'm talking about very basic skills that are required in industry, but which a lot of us don't come into industry with. For example, how do you conduct a meeting? What is the importance and the relevance of time management when we are in working with a team? What is the kind of knowledge that we must have of different environments in order to be able to skillfully operate in those environments? And the third thing that Harvard has identified is cultural intelligence. This is a bit of a repeat of what I said to you in the Kenyan organization case, but an ability to be able to work with a lot more nationalities than perhaps we've been accustomed to while in our growing up phase. This is people who come from all over the world now, working in a confined space. They bring different thought processes, different backgrounds, different build-ups in their lives. They wear different clothes and they eat different food. How do we make sure that our graduates go out and A, do not themselves feel that they're not really fitting in, and B, do not permit others who they interact with to feel that they don't fit in either? A cultural intelligence which has become an absolute must in a globalized world. And regardless of whether a Trump wins or a Biden wins, we're going to remain a globalized world because the world has opened up, and the benefits of globalization and the opening up of economies is quite apparent to everyone. There are 5 things that have been identified. I am now going beyond the Harvard Business School thing that I was talking about. There are 5 things, 5 skills actually, traits or attributes you might call them, which have been identified in terms of workplace skills that students will require when they graduate from the corridors of academia into the workplace and the workplace of the future. The first of this is complex problem solving, an ability to see not just what is in front of you, but the ramifications of it in the environment, on climate, amongst people that you have to work with, amongst peoples that you have to sell to, an ability to do complex problem solving, putting together as many problems as you can, solving them before you take a product to market, let's say. The second is critical thinking. Critical thinking, in a sense, is Murphy's Law in reverse. Murphy's Law, you all know, is if something can go wrong, it will. So critical thinking is when you have an idea and you say, these are the 10 ways that it can go wrong and I have a failure on my hands. And then you systematically work back on those 10 problems and you solve them so that you have at the end a solution where you can take your idea forward and you've already taken into account the kind of reasons that might cause you failure in taking it to market. The third is creativity. Do I have to use silicon for this purpose? Or can I find a product which is more readily available, less costly, and therefore will get me a larger market? To be creative in product, in price, in the way we promote, etc., is going to be very, very critical as we go on in the workplace of the future. The fourth is people management. And this is something I think does not need to be spoken of at all. I mean, we are a globalized world, and in that globalized world, we must necessarily learn how to live, work, eat, play, sleep with people of varieties of nationalities. And we all know there are almost 200 nationalities. That's the challenge. Finally, coordinating with others. So the 5 workplace skills that are going to be critical as we go forward, as identified by academia and industry across the world, from India to South Africa to the US to the UK, are 1, the ability to do complex problem solving, 2, creativity, 3, critical thinking, 4, people management, and 5, the ability to coordinate positively with others. I hope this takes you somewhat in the direction of the question that you asked me, Dr. Nabil, in terms of an answer.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Gautam. And I'm pleased to highlight a few things that among the rare maybe instance when we see corporates and academia agreed on a couple of elements, and that's well appreciated to note. And you shared with us that not only the corporate side recognized those 5 pillars in, let's say, work skills other than the core knowledge provided by the universities, but also some leader university like the one you mentioned, and they are working on it. And that's let us moving ahead with this way of looking to things. We started with the gap, and then we have seen a possibility of identifying it or answering to those gaps, and we got a confirmation from your side that it's quite difficult to see all of this as one package, as you said. Can this be as one package, and can be the university delivering it, and can the corporate just come and assess it in half an hour and 1 hour? And you even mentioned that those soft skills and workability skills were even rated in a weight more than the core skills. Dr. Abed, let me go back to you and try to dig a little bit. In your tentative or in your wish to answer to those gaps, what are the specific approaches that Talent of Endearment is following to unlock youth capabilities and to encourage them to the creative things? And we have seen Mr. Gautam focused a lot on creative things, possibility to solve complex problem, to see the forest when everyone is seeing only the tree. Dr. Abed, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nabil. Thank you, Gautam. You simplified my life a lot better to explaining things. When I would like to say, in branding, we always say is, if you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the talk. And I want to work with everybody to walk the talk, what we have been talking about today, to sense it. How do you call it? Essentialize it in that respect. We're going to be providing the students of KIC, the faculties, and the members joining us this session on a special project that we're going to be doing. And it's called Discovering People's Aspiration Project, to get to know the things that we have not been aware of, that are close to us, and really how to start thinking of them as relevant to our future. And what we're going to be doing after this this webinar, we're going to be sending everybody a special link to sign up and to sign into the platform. This is complimentary, but this is going to be a fun project. So we're going to work together in terms of discovering aspirations and to really start seeing how our passion could start evolving, to start taking things to ground. And this link, we're going to be sending it to you guys, and especially a group of KIC, Khwarizmi College, that's going to be on our platform. We will share it with you with Dr. Asam's permission, of course, and approval. And that we will be gladly. So we start taking this journey, not just to talk, we're going to walk the talk. That's one thing that we're going to be doing, Dr. Nabil, in answer to your questions. The next things we're going to be doing, which is basically talents of endearment. Everything we talked about that should have been done has been compacted into talents of endearment. And that's why we call it for leaders, heroes, and big achievers only, because this is what we really help people to become once they complete that journey. So basically, it helps people to build their dreams and frame their future. Why do I say frame their future? Because it is you who is going to decide what your future is going to look like. Nobody's going to interfere. Nobody's going to give you an advice. If you're going to ask me, I'm going to give you the worst advice of the world. I'm going to let you carve it. I'm going to share with you a story of Picasso. Most of us knows who's Picasso, and those who doesn't are not living with us in this world. Picasso was sitting in his lab. A student of his comes in, looks at him, in front of him, there is a rock, and says, "Master, what is this?" So Picasso looks at his students and says, "This is a rock." He says, "I know. What you gonna do with this rock?" Listen carefully how Picasso framed the words to his students. He says, "I'm gonna bring out the lion out of this rock." The student looks at Picasso and says, puzzled, "Wow, that's gonna be a very tough task. How are you gonna bring out the lion out of this rock?" Picasso looks at him with confidence and says, "That's actually very easy. I'm gonna remove everything that does not look like a lion until the lion comes out." And this is exactly what talents of endearment does with you. Helps you filter out everything that does not relate to what matters to you the most until what matters to you the most comes out, becomes clear, crisp. This is what we do in talents of endearment. We will help you define and deepen your characteristic, who you are, to build that confidence, to build that trust. I can do it. The universities turns you into a fighter. You know how to fight, to have certain fights in a certain environment. Talents of endearment will take you to the next level to become a warrior. To come back, doesn't worry about anything except how to win a war for the good of people. With talents of endearment, universities might prepare you for what's good enough. With talents of endearment, good enough is not enough. What we prepare you to be for the good. This is what Standard Chartered statement that they brag about themselves. But what we do here with talents of endearment, your good is to be a hero, everybody's hero, everybody's inspiration, everybody's passion to be associated with and liked and loved. And they want to read that story. You remember that little short video? That's when they start writing the story of your future, of your life. Now, with talents of endearment, that people wants to start following, reading it, and wanting to be a part of it. That's the change of career. That's a game changer. And when you remember the first 5 things that I mentioned earlier, your passion, purpose, future, opportunities, and achievements, with talents of endearment, 33 days journey, virtual journey, we will be able to help you to define them and put them all together in one package, in one project. Now I know what I'm going to do. Now I have a pathway, I have a career pathway that is going to help me to become a game changer. That is going to help me to become the glory of everybody around you. Instead of looking for infamy like Donald Trump is, we want you to become a legacy to everybody else in their community, in your class, for your university, for your class, for the businesses, whether you're an employee or business startups, because I can see more business potential startups than I can see employees of the future. And everybody should think of that. Don't think what kind of a job I'm going to get tomorrow. Think what kind of an opportunity that is going to inspire everybody around me that wants to be me, that wants to be with me, that wants to be associated with me. That's what we help you to become as a game changer. And what we'll do, we'll enhance your career to become an achiever. Because an achiever, not just for yourself, because we don't want you to think of just of yourself. It's by default. You will succeed when you help other people around you rise, grow. That's the inspiration that we want to lead you to become tomorrow. To make everybody feel great about themselves, not how good to feel about you, the services you provide them. Today, robots could do the same thing that you might be thinking of doing today, but we don't want that. That's not good enough. Remember, you are a hero. You are a big achiever, and that's what we aim the things for you to change through talents of endearment. And what we also help you to do is design your ecosystem. Now, the biggest question you need to ask yourself, and we always ask ourselves, who can I turn to? Who can I trust to give me that right advice? Through Talents of Endearment, we will help you filter through those relationships to make sure that what is focused on, we take everything that does not look like a lion until the lion comes out clear to you, ready to stand with you, go to battles, to go to wars, work with you in every angle that makes your hard roads and easy ones. That makes your hardships a beauty for everybody. You'll become an inspiring team. That's how you become glorious. That's when your story that you're writing for your future becomes a legacy everybody wants to be a part of. And that's what we help you through Talents of Endearment. We will also provide you lifetime support, community support. So no matter what, when, how long later you need help, you will find the community support to help you. A group, lines of experts, other colleagues of yours in the past or in the future that are there to help you. You're always going to be scaled up to be exposed to all the new opportunities other participants in the future now are bringing out to the world. And our aim basically is not to stop you where you ended, but actually whenever you think you are at the end, it will be the start of a new end. And that's how we're going to continuously grow with what we are doing in this program. And I want to share with you a little commercial that is not working for us here. Let me see. And I hope everybody can hear that sound. So basically what we are doing, let me get back to my presentation. So what we are doing basically is we're giving you a complete incubator that starts with the idea. I've seen in the chats one of the people asked the questions at what ages. It's actually we start from the 10th graders through high school, so they can start seeing what relevant education, what relevant career opportunities they need to pursue for the future that they're after. now. And also for college students. We have another dimension that goes to business and entrepreneurs, but our focus here is college students. College students, high schools, from 10th grades to high schools, and that's our aim, basically. And what we are starting with a career lab on the 13th of January through the 15th, that's a series that's gonna start twice a month, basically. And when you click on through it, you will see, I can see if you go to the handouts, click on the link, you will see the information on it and how to register. That's available to you in that respect. And what we have done, it's a one life subscription that you decide to pursue. It's $150 for introductory for the sake of this meeting today and working with Al-Khwarizmi and with our partner institutions and the lifetime support that you will be getting. That's how we are bringing things to the ground instead of taking out. You can see we are doing this as a CSR, lifetime CSR. The aim here is to provide the world an infinite human opportunities provided by intelligent students, smart students that are able to do a lot more than what education prepares them for, what businesses are expecting of them. Because businesses today are confused basically whether they go for robots, automation, or human intelligence. So we are building the machines that makes everything smart, everything relevant, and that's our contribution to the world and what we are doing today. So, and the other things that I would like to do is go to the handouts. You will see that link, and also there is a form. You fill in the blanks. I want every student now to start filling the blank. And if you couldn't fill it up, then you need us. And if you filled it up, you're still gonna need us. Ba'ad Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because what you need to do is you really need to start reading how your future should look like. Okay, not based on what you are studying, but based on the aspirations of the people that you want to help and you want to focus on. And that's our takeaway from this session of today. And I hope I was able to cover that enough, Dr. Nabil.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abed. Thank you very much. So as you said it at the beginning, you are here to convert the students from being a fighter to being a warrior and being a winner and being an achiever. And you were offering an opportunity of a lifetime investment for the students to unlock such possibilities. That looks great. However, from an academic side, I would like to hear from Dr. Asim, to what extent the talent of endearment approach and program that come with a lot of, mechanism can be seen as supporting the academic process and not the opposite. Is there any risk that such will be a kind of distraction to the students or a factor that take them a little bit away from the learning path because they're gonna maybe focus on something that might look more, appealing when it comes to the approach and to the way of? Or would you see it as an academician with your huge experience and critical thinking, something that will help them in their academic? Dr. Asim, please.
Dr. Asim, I gave you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you allow me, Dr. Nabil, before I answer the question, a couple of points. One related to what Dr. Baidas presented, and thank you for a wonderful presentation, Dr. Baidas, and also something for Dr. Gautam as well. And of course, thank you very much for what you provided us. The knowledge and the experience and everything you shared with us today. Now, frankly, Dr. Baidas answered the question partially, but I want to still ask the question because when talking about passion and finding the passion, and I like the idea of cleaning and clearing the and finding, searching for that passion. I believe that passion should be searched for right from an early age in people. And I think it will be, I don't know, I know you mentioned, Dr. Bedix, you mentioned grade 10, but perhaps one should go actually further and will go actually even earlier than grade 10 to search for passion. We know that between the age of 0 and 7, this is when the people's personality and personality basically is formed. Now, my question is, shouldn't you go further to that? And the other question is, do you have anything for senior people in terms of searching for passion as well? That will be useful for us. The other point, and I think this is also something that partially is part of the answer to Dr. Nabil's question. Now, Dr. Gautam did actually told us about what the industry is actually looking for in graduates and in people coming into it. And what is very, very clear, the industry is not simply and only looking for the subject specialist. Subject specialist. They are looking for a lot more than that. It's I think he clearly stated that it's that's probably 20% of what they are looking for. Life and work and career and all that requires a lot more than specialism, you know, a lot more than knowledge about the particular subject. We have to have other attributes in our graduates that should be built throughout their study, and I think this is where we can, and one of those attributes is learning. We want lifelong learners. It's no longer that students will come and get the information from the faculty and then go back and apply it. We have now moved into a different era, different time, where probably the teacher or the faculty will no longer have the more information and knowledge than the students themselves. The students they will have access to information. Students will have they have the same reach as everybody else to information, and because of that, it's a different approach altogether. So I think we need to ensure that we instill and we teach our students about this, lifelong learning issue, because that's what's happening, will be happening every day. We in our age now, we have to learn how to use. We have to, when internet came, we had to learn it. When the web was introduced, the internet came. We learned it when and we continue to learn new skills every day. And I'm sure we all face the same issue. Your child or your daughter or son will come to you and laugh at you the way you search for information on the internet, the way you use your phone. We probably know about 10% of the capability of the gadget we carry, whereas they are way advanced. They are way ahead of us. Nowadays, you get into conversation with your child, and you find that they've got a lot of information, and I come across this all the time. Now, and I think this is where the point made by Dr. Nabil about the complementing technical education or complementing the higher education, or complementing what the students are doing on their programs. Is this something that is it a complementary thing, or is it complementing, completing? Is it something that will disturb their studies and things like this? Of course, on the contrary, I don't think that's the case. On the contrary of that, this is we are looking for specific, and as Dr. Gautam mentioned, we're looking for certain attributes in our graduates. We're trying to build certain skills, certain abilities in our students. And apart from subject specialism, we want them to be innovative. We want them to be creative. We want to be socially intelligent people also, as mentioned, and want to be, now for the future, surely they have to be digitally literate, and other abilities that makes them to appreciate responsibility, and so they have integrity, they have adaptability, they have other things. Now these attributes are reinforced and enhanced actually by technology, are enhanced by training, are enhanced by the training comes to add to fill in the gaps in the in the program or in education, or it adds many extra needed actually practical experiences and knowledge. In our programs, we've got two new programs introduced last year in September 2019, and these programs, respiratory care and emergency medical care, one of the special things about them is they have the highest percentage, about 20% of the program is internships and the practical experiences that the students will have to go through during their studies. Now that shows the importance of interacting with the industry at an early or during the study. It's important to reinforce or strengthen the practical side of in the study, and all of that is of course is not going to disturb or interrupt their study. On the contrary, this is something that will add and reinforce what they know, and prepare them for a better future, prepare them to be, as we mentioned, to be prepared to change. I think the COVID-19 situation, the pandemic put us under the test, and I believe, and I can say it with a lot of confidence, that we have passed that test at all levels, at the institutional level, and also at the institutional level, talking here about the systems that we have, and also our students' ability to appreciate and engage in that change, and also our staff and faculty who were able to quickly deal with the requirements, the needs that this change brought in. We need to actually prepare them more and more, prepare our students more and more for that level, that kind of life and that kind of future, because that is what experts, what people who are foreseeing the what is coming in the future, we know that is the change that is expected is going to be bigger and faster, because now we have what we have, the equipment and the systems we have will provide much faster change. So we need to be really ready to accommodate that change in our lives and accommodate it in our career, and we accommodate it in our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asim. So you see it as an opportunity to forge more the graduates' attributes and to allow the graduates to be ready more for a better future, with a kind of, completing each other between the academic system and such opportunities. And maybe to take with part of what Dr. Asim was asking Dr. Baidis, I would like first to give the question to Mr. Ghutam, and then I come back to you. Dr. Asim was asking on the senior.
Before you go to Ghutam, can I ask and answer Dr. Asim a couple of questions?
I'll give you the floor because part of the question is there, and I don't want you to answer it before. So I'll come back to you, Dr. Baidis. Don't worry about it.
Okay, make sure I forget it.
No, don't worry. Dr. Asim, Mr. Ghutam was saying that maybe the senior people and need something like that. And what about unlocking their potential there? And that's where exactly I wanted to hear from you. What about the employees, and the senior member in a corporate? Do you think they still need such kind of things and such kind of approach as the one brought by Talent of Endearment? Is there any gap also there to be completed? Mr. Ghutam.
Thank you, Dr. Nabil. And yes, I do tend to agree. But before I say anything, I want to say thank you to Dr. Asim, for his very, very visionary viewpoint. And I also go back to what he said right at the beginning of this session, when he talked about we don't know what the future of work is. We don't know what jobs will be available tomorrow, day after, the day after that. And that, to my mind, is the greatest reality in our world today. I again go back to my instance, when I graduated college in 81, let's say, it was still a time when you said that you may work for the same group for the next 30, 40 years. You may actually make a career with one group and retire from that one group. Today, that is completely unthinkable. If I talk to this batch of students who will graduate this year from KIC, they would probably laugh at me if I were to ask a question as to whether you would contemplate, any one of you, would you even contemplate being with the same company or perhaps the same group for the next 30 years? I mean, they'd probably say, not even 3, not even 2, not even 1. But that's the way the world has changed. Now, the thing is, what this does is it creates a climate in which we all understand. And if we haven't understood yet, we are all beginning to understand that we are entering an era of lifelong learning, as Dr. Asim has said. And that is a feature of Talents of Endearment, which I genuinely love. The fact of lifelong community support is something so in line with the way the world is going that I appreciate it completely. Now, if you see, let's say a low-level employee, Dr. Nabil, a low-level employee meaning maybe an entry-level employee, and he comes in as a customer care executive into, say, a hospital. And then he has to move from that job after 6 months, but he remains in the same discipline. He remains a customer care executive, and he goes to a hotel company. And then he spends an year or a year and a half there, and then he has to go as a customer care executive into an educational institution like yours. Now, he remains a customer care executive through this 5-year transition in his life, in employment. But in every case, he's a customer care executive with very, very different attributes. There is probably a set of attributes which are common across the hospital, the college, the school, and the hotel. Maybe 30%, maybe 40%, maybe 25%. I don't know. And I suspect nobody knows either. Nobody else knows either. But there is certainly 60, 70% of attributes that are determined by the sector into which he goes. The customer in the school or college is a student and the student's parent, or the ward and his parent. The customer in the hotel industry is different for rooms, is different for restaurants, is different for banquets, is different for the spa. And so the customer in the hospital is the patient and the caretakers of the patient. I mean, the people who are paying the bills, the people who are coming to keep his spirits up, etc., his family, his friends, etc. These are the customers. How you deal with them in that specific environment determines the differences in that same job across industry sectors. And so this process of lifelong learning, I can see happening. You will need to constantly retrain, reskill, upskill in order to get into a higher job. Now, yes, I understand that what I'm saying essentially relates to relatively lower level jobs. But let's look at the middle managers. Let's look at the senior managers. Now, how easy is it for a senior manager or a middle manager to say today, I have to start a project with 10 people who I will meet only on Zoom for the next 1 or 2 years. And we have to launch this project. Complicating that further is that the 10 people in that team, one is Indian, one is Pakistani, one is Iranian, 2 are from the US, and 3 are from Australia. And on top of that, they don't even know each other. How, as a senior manager, do you feel comfortable leading a team in this new environment? How will technology help us create and develop new products? Now, I'll give you an example, which many of you younger people may not be aware of, but it's interesting. During the Second World War, or just after the Second World War, a company called 3M, which you all know, created a glue. Now, at that time, for war purposes or for defense purposes, the glue that they wanted was something that would stick two things together so fast that you could try whatever tensile power that you could use, and you couldn't get those two pieces apart. I mean, the glue was so strong. But this glue that they produced was not so strong. You put it on paper, and you put one more paper on top of that paper, and you could take the paper off and then stick it back again. And they thought it was a huge failure of technology. And do you know that that one product went on to become what is today the #1 bestseller from the 3M stable of products? It's the product that we use every day. It's called Post-it. From an absolutely failed glue, it turned into the money winner, the money spinner for 3M. Now, how is a senior manager or a middle manager going to anticipate this, look around this, be able to understand entirely what he needs to do with a failed product and take it to success in the marketplace? How is the senior manager going to manage teams of people that work from home? So there are huge challenges that are coming in the workplace, and don't think those challenges are limited solely to Zoom meetings and Zoho meetings because of COVID-19. If it's not COVID-19, it'll be something else. It'll be some facet of globalization, something that China pushes into the US, or something that the US pushes into Venezuela, and which creates a complete horror kind of picture in the environment into which it has entered. So I believe that the senior managers and middle managers will continue to also require the benefits of lifelong learning. In fact, I think they'll be dead without it. And I think that the most important thing that people at all 3 levels in organizations, the entry level, the mid level, as well as the senior level, will need to learn, most importantly, is self-awareness. Who are they and what are they all about? I don't know if that answers your question in part, at least, Dr. Nabil.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Gautam. And I'll give the floor to Dr. Baidas so you can answer to Dr. Asim's question and give also your concluding remark before having the same from all the attendees, from all the panel members, then look to some questions from our attendees. Please, Dr. Abed. You're on mute, Dr. Abed. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Nabil. Nobody's perfect. Thank you, Dr. Asim, for highlighting something that I was anxious to talk about, but holding myself back. But now you let the bees out of the can. And thank you, Gautam, for highlighting. Get back to your comment. Is it available? Why don't we go back to the younger ages? Actually, we have a product or programs that goes down all the way to before birth, even how to create the environment for the right nurturing of a child once it comes to this world through 10 years old, and that's called iGeneration. And it's already developed as an institution, designed, and the plans to release it in the due times. And we actually had the architectural designs for the facilities of it for the programs to be licensed to institutions worldwide. Okay, and basically the emphasis of that is how to develop a socially skilled child. Okay, and then we have another program. It's called IPEN Club, which is an accelerator that's designed for professionals as well as children from the age of 11 to 18 years old to help them become entrepreneurs at that young age. It's an annual programs, and they carry on. With the Talents of Endearment came in as an incubator. We created it. We started with it for businesses, okay? Then we decided to go at a different direction with it so that for businesses, professionals, it's there. The product is there. It's already on our website. And I will share the links with you, but not to confuse the crowd in this session, but I will share it with you. So for professionals and entrepreneurs. But also I want to take this to a question one of our attendees is asking, why do you believe a person who is living his or her passion in a company move to another company without thinking? Because they don't feel self-belonging. So when we designed Talents of Endearment for professionals and a model for businesses is to actually create that self-belonging where the companies become seeing employees as an extension to the future markets. So that is there. We already have it. But we decided to think, we saw an immediate opportunities right now with a huge gap right now is on students in college or also students coming out of high school. And our intention is to go lower than the 10th grades. But we don't have that ability. And that's why we are capitalizing to work through our partnerships, relationships with academias and academic institutions like yours, in order to start scaling down working with high schools, okay, to start spreading that talent. And as early as possible, like I mentioned, we go to the 1 day old to start preparing them to carry forward. But it takes a lot more than just ourselves. We designed the brain. And what we did also through Talents of Endearment, a platform, is the ecosystem that actually entwine all those relationships together. For example, our future plans for Talents of Endearments, where the same sessions will be shared not only by college students or high school students, but also by professional businesses or professional people in businesses and entrepreneurs. There are 3 dimensions of value here. The first, students are the future thinking. Businesses are the wisdom of today. Entrepreneurs are thinking of the environments they will create to foster the two together. So we have that in place, but we cannot. We have to decide where is our immediate attention to start with to carry this forward, and that's why we're excited working with you and the other and institutions around the world, because we have a lot to offer as an ecosystem that allows an individual just to keep thinking in terms of people's lifelong journey from birth, from cradle to grave. And that's where we are carved our way and ready to sculpture it together, inshallah. I hope that answers the questions to yours, Dr. Asim. And in closing, basically. What I need to do, what I need you to ask you, basically, stop looking at what others are doing and try to do what try to do what they are doing. Don't be a copy machine. Start focusing on what you want to be doing that is different. And that's our passion. And that's our passion for Respirations, to create that carve. What it is that I want to carve out, like that. Do you want just a T-bone steak or a filet mignon? What is it that you want? What is it that you crave for? What is your future is going to be like, basically? And remember, if you put all your energy into grades and diplomas, you are almost certainly not focusing enough on what really matters the most to people. Skills and the ability to continue updating them throughout your career is what really matters. And this is what we did through Talents of Endearment, Dr. Asim, Dr. Nabil, is basically is taking out. I see people are preferring steaks and somebody's getting hungry. And basically, to be successful in any area in life, you need to have the right attitude. Stop thinking, I cannot do it. No, I can. What I can do is limitless. Keep the word limitless in front of you. Type it, write it, whatever you can do. Put it everywhere in the house, around you. I am a limitless person. I know no limit. My skies is my limit and beyond. That's and I have the potentials to do that. And this is what when we design Talents of Endearment, is basically to embed this in every soul that walks in, whether it's a student, a child later, or a professional. Because that is what's lacking today as a relationship. Market's problems today isn't because we have no money in the world. It is, but there is a disconnect in the world between businesses and people. And that's what broke the chain. And that's where we are lacking today, which means that what we really need to do is to create an approach of a task and an opportunity with a determination, tenacity, and above all, enthusiasm. I feel excited when I'm talking to you because I can see hope. When I talk, that's what excites me. And what we really need to do is, yes, degrees are very nice to have, but that expensive piece of paper isn't to be all and end all. What it is, basically, the real prize in life isn't in the letters after your name. I don't care if you call me a doctor or whatever, or a BS. But what matters, basically, is your ability to accomplish awesome things. Things that people really are desperate in search for. You can do it. The answer becomes easy once you knew people's aspirations. That's why we did this project, to start with everybody, discovering people's aspirations, because we're excited to hear what's out there. We want to know what's out there. Just like you are looking to change, you want to look at our opportunities. That's a step forward to discover what is there for you. School isn't required for that. Passion is. And that's what we focus about. Remember, it is your mind. Whatever answer you may have now will impact your career for the rest of your life. And we want to help you make it happen because you deserve it. Don't listen to what everybody else is telling you the future is in AI or whatever. The future is what you make of it, of your creation. Thank you.
The future is of your own creation. That's your word of the closing, and this is a very inspirational message to all our students and our colleague. Dr. Asim, may we hear the closing comments or remark from a veteran and a long experienced executive in higher education as your kind self. Dr. Asim, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Right, I will. Right. Thank you very much. I will make it very, very short. I know the time we passed the time given to us. But first of all, I want to say that I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Baidas, yourself, and Dr. Gautam for today, and of course every single our colleagues and students who joined us. If you want to see a really nice, good example of passion, I think we have Dr. Baidas. Is a fantastic example on that. Really, I mean, you can listen to him for hours and you can see his passion is really demonstrated so clearly. What I want to say here, as a final word to our students, I want to say that what we are trying to do here, we are trying to open your mind to the future. We are trying to open your mind about future opportunities. Of course, we don't have all the answers. We don't have the, we don't know what the future is going to be. I wouldn't have known that I will be here talking to you today in this place from this place 30 years ago or before that. I wouldn't have known that. Life sends you to different places every day. I wouldn't have guessed that we will be talking through, online. This is certainly would have been a dream or something that you only see in movies. What I want to finish with is you are the only ones who can build your career. Career is built by your own. We can only offer help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asim. A career is made by yourself. You are the creator of your future. Career is made by yourself. You are the creator of your future. We can only offer help. That's very impactful, Dr. Asim, and I think that's a kind also of a challenge to all our students to grasp their opportunity by hands and to work hard and to unlock their potential. Mr. Ghutam, as a corporate side, maybe a last advice to our students and the closing remark from your kind side, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nabil. It's not my place to offer advice. It is my place to listen carefully to what is being said all around me. And I've enjoyed this session enormously. Your questions, what I've heard from Dr. Asim, Abid. And I have only one thing to say to the student body, which to my mind is the most important body that has been involved in this webinar. And that statement to students is that you're very fortunate. You are actually, to my mind, very lucky to have the nature of management that you have, from what I've heard. Because openness and being open to what the world around us is, how it is changing, the so many unknowables within that change, it is so difficult to understand. But even before it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to see. Because, as we age, we do tend to get blinded. We get blinded by our experiences, our knowledge, our expertise. But you are fabulously fortunate in that you have people leading you that are so open, even in their verbal communications, about the direction in which they would like to see this college progress, that you are blessed with this management. And I genuinely appreciate this time, and I've greatly enjoyed this session. Thank you very much, and I wish everyone the very best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ghutam, for those closing comments, and we are really pleased to note such recognition from an experienced person like yourself. On a very simple closing word, I would like to call our students really to invest in their future, to believe on what they want to do, to unlock their passion, and, to find the right way. All of us, educator, trainer, talent of endearment program, we are here to help, to support, to facilitate, but we will never do it alone. You will do it. And we are here just, to share with you the years of experience. And on a final word, I would like to extend my deep thanks to the Student Affairs Department who facilitated the organization of this webinar and worked hard with all the members to let it happen today. We are pleased to have it with us and to spend those 2 hours with you. And I'll just humbly hand it back to you, Dr. Baidis, if you would like to go through some question or have any final concluding remark. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure really to facilitate and moderate this session. Thank you.
I really enjoyed this. That's one final remark that I would like to share with everybody. But I have a couple of the comments that I would like to have a poll for that I would like to start, if I may. Here's a poll. After this conversation, after this session, I want you to rate yourself. Everybody. %60 gave them, they rated themselves 4 stars, 13% 3 stars, and 27% 5 stars. Okay. The majorities gave themselves, they rate themselves 4 stars, which is pretty good. But I would like also to ask you guys, rate this session, please.
Abed, you have to put up the poll. It's not here.
Refresh your page.
Click on polls. Click on polls. It's a good time. You will see it. So I would like everyone to rate the session, please.
Rate the session. Okay, good. But I'd like to now rate the subject. And rate the speakers. Don't worry, Dr. Asim is 5 stars, so he wouldn't be upset if you rated us less than that. Thank you so much, everybody. And we really enjoyed this session. We had a great, productive time that we really hope that will impact you positively later. And by tomorrow, you will get a special link to participate with us in the project that we said to discover. So together, we're going to be working to explore people's aspirations. And if there is any other comments or questions, we might end the session here. Dr. Nabil, any other comments on your side?
Thank you very much, Dr. Baidis. It was a pleasure. And again, thank you very much for all the speakers. Thanks to our students for attending. One of the indicators I usually look is to have a look to the number of attendees at the beginning and at the end of the session. And it's pleased to see consistently our 65, 70 attendees attended the whole session, which means I hope is an indicator that the topic was of interest. Thank you very much again, our students, and let's have a second talk about it, second thought about it when you are alone, you know, and then I hope that you find the talent of endearment a good opportunity to help you unlock your potential and succeed your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Asim.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe. Take care.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So